Yes, sir.
You edit all your own videos?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right, y'all. We on Facebook Live right now as we speak.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
Okay, wonderful. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today for this special edition of Off the Record. I'm very humbled to have two illustrious guests with me today. I want to first start off with our educator and a wonderful, former teacher of mine, and just somebody who puts in a lot of work in the city of Chicago and all the surrounding areas, with Brother Abdul Muhammad. Brother Abdul, if you want to speak to the people, please. Okay, excellent. And I also want to start with my favorite rapper, Politically Oppressed. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule out there in Phoenix, holding it down.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Peace.
All right. Excellent. Today, the subject that we're dealing with for the people who are tuned in on Facebook is the state of young men. This is a universal subject that affects many people, races, all kind of things. But I wanted to bring some people on who I thought would be honest and helpful and inspirational at the same time. The first question that we have, we'll start with what I'll do on this one, is what are some healthy ways for young men to battle depression?
That's a good question. Healthy ways for young men to battle depression. So I'll say this, that I heard Brother Jabril say that whenever you're feeling down, then you should read Message to the Black Man.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I didn't get a chance to ask him why he said that, but I think that part of the reason that we suffer from depression is because of our own self-perception. Sometimes we go through things, and these trials that we go through cause us to misperceive reality. That's what pain does. Pain causes us to misperceive reality, and it can warp our perception. So we may think that Allah doesn't love us because we're going through trials and tribulations. We may think that Allah doesn't care about us, our parents don't love us, whatever the case may be. None of that is true, right? Because he wouldn't have came 9,000 miles and spent 3.5 years among us if he didn't love us. So, but that doesn't stop us from thinking these things when we're going through trials, because at the end of the day, it's either Allah's permissive will or his active will. So it's easy for us to draw those kind of conclusions. So one of the things Brother Brill said is that when we feel down or depressed, is that we should read Message to the Black Man, because what that does, it helps to repair our misperception of ourselves. So that's one thing that we can do. Another thing that we can do as members of the Nation of Islam is by doing the work and the mission of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The trials and tribulations, all of these things, they're a part of life. So we have to learn as young men how to manage disappointment, how to manage tragedy, how to manage trauma. All of these things that happen in our lives, we have to learn how to manage them. When we come in the nation, one of the outlets that we have is being involved in the mission of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, living for something that's bigger than our individual selves. So that's something that when we're engaged in that mission, that it doesn't allow us to fall into these pits of depression. So I would say those two things, brother, are things that we could do to deal with depression, which we all go through. And it's not that you'll never be depressed. That's what Brother Jabril said. It's not that you'll never be depressed. The problem starts when you stay in that kind of frame of mind, because life, there's ups and downs in life. And as a man, you manage those ups and downs. It's not always going to be up. It's not always going to be down. So you have to be able to, when you're down, know that you'll come back up. And that starts with faith in Almighty God Allah.
Excellent. Okay, wonderful, Rashad. Politically pressed, we come right to you, Rashad. But one second, Brother Abdul, what about the people who aren't in the nation, who watch on Facebook and on YouTube, who are religious? What advice would you give to them as far as their battling depression?
And that's a good question, brother. So, and I should have said this, brother. Definitely, if you're not religious or you're not in the nation, quote unquote, there's still certain principles. Like in the Nation of Islam, we're taught as Muslims, we're taught to pray 5 times a day. Mm-hmm. Whether you believe in God or whatever, or you in the nation, you believe in Allah or whatever the case may be, you have to know that there's a higher power than your individual self. So belief in a higher power is one of the number one things that we have to have in order to even be successful in this life. So there's other things that a person can do. Just because you're not in the nation doesn't mean that you can't do things, engage yourself in the work that helps those people that are less fortunate than you. You know, volunteering at a boys club or a girls club or doing things in the community to help those people who are less fortunate. These types of things give our life meaning and purpose. See, some of us think, well, man, I don't even know why I'm here. What is my purpose in life? Why did God put me here? And we're waiting for somebody to come and knock on the door and tell us, man, look, this is what your purpose is. It's never going to happen. God is not going to whisper in your ear and tell you, man, this is what your purpose is, or you're not going to have a dream. It doesn't work like that. The way life works is that you have to figure it out. So you have to be on the path or on the journey of life, and your purpose reveals itself to you. So you might do one thing and really enjoy that one thing, and then when you engage in that one thing that you engage in that you enjoy may lead you to something else that you enjoy even more, or you might engage in something that you don't enjoy, because the part of life is figuring out who you are as the individual self. And it goes back to what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that the greatest knowledge is the knowledge of self. So I'm gonna end it with this. There's a video that I just saw on YouTube where Jay-Z is back in New York, and he's at the 4040 Club. And, you know, he rapped about, in the song with Alicia Keys, he rapped about being at 560 State Street, which is where he grew up, right? So the 40 Club is like right across the street, right? So he tells a story about how his cousin, he was selling dope, and his cousin was saying, man, you need to leave the dope alone and you need to go into rap, right? You need to take this rap thing seriously. And Jay-Z says, man, I thought he was hating on me, right? So at that time where he was in his life, he thought that his purpose was selling dope. But then he said that once he let that life go and he dedicated himself to his music, which was his passion, which he was just doing on the side, he said things started to happen real fast for him. So all I'm saying is you might be engaged in one thing in your life, and that one thing will reveal another thing to you that Allah really wants you to do, and that thing might reveal something else. So life is all about the journey. So don't think, man, I'm 17 years old and I don't even know what I want to do with my life. Most people at 17 didn't know what they wanted to do. You have the rest of your life to figure out why Allah put you here, what your purpose in life is. So that's why we need to be engaged in those things. And once you find your purpose through self-discovery, then that will help you not to think that you were here for no reason, and help us in our states of depression, thinking that we don't have a purpose.
Excellent. Okay, Rashad, I'm coming right to you. I want to say alaikum salam to Mimi, Khalid Shakur, Naima, Drew, Rob Abdullah, Asmija, and everyone else who's watching. We send the love back and the greetings as well. Okay, Rashad, your question, the same question to you. What would you advise young men a positive way to help battle depression?
You should have came to me first. I don't know how I'm gonna follow up coming up. No, but just personally, I would say you got to have a relationship with God.
Right.
If you don't have a relationship with God, it's gonna be real hard for you to battle depression, especially nowadays. There's so much. Young black men are dealing with so much. Young black people are dealing with so much. But if you don't have a real relationship with God, it's going to really be hard to battle that depression. That's why most people go to drugs and women and alcohol and all these other different vices, because they don't have that real relationship with God. So that would be my number one thing, is when you battle depression, you have to have some kind of spiritual faith base in background or foundation that you stand on, so you don't keep sinking deeper in depression, because depression is going to come up. It's gonna happen. You're gonna see some things. That's just life. You're gonna battle things. It's gonna be up and down in life. But if you don't have God, it's gonna be hard for you to fight that. But if you got God, you're good. You know
okay.
What I mean? I don't.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
I want to thank to the people who are not religious and who don't have faith. Also, something that you all might want to do is get some therapy and seek some professional counseling as well, because a lot of the people who I'm friends with on social media say they're not religious. And I don't want to leave it. I don't feel like we isolating them and not talking to them. So if you don't have some faith, please do something, because I don't want to lose no more people to senseless who are battling depression. But I know a lot of young men who are really out here battling. Like Islam, Brother Abdul Kadir, Rob Abdullah, David Muhammad, And also, this podcast is brought to you all by ABC, I Love Me, Miriam Muhammad's children's book. We thank you for putting positive self-imagery into the world. The next question, Arvishon, since you said I went to you first, I'm going with you now, and then we're going to run up through. Your question to you is, how important is having a mentor or someone to help guide you in life, to give you some advice to helping you stay positive today?
Yeah, man, it's very important. And bro, I was going to get to that. Like you said, that's kind of like counseling. It's like having a counselor. It's like having somebody to go to. We can't always go to, our spouse or somebody. We may not feel comfortable telling them everything about us, but you got to have a big brother or a mentor or a spiritual guide that you follow and that you look up to that can guide you, because you're going to have those moments where you're down. And if you can't talk to that person or talk to somebody about it, then it's going to be real hard. So you got to have a coach, a life coach per se, or somebody that you can lean on in those rough situations. It's very important. You know what I mean? If you don't have that, it's going to be hard to get through your situation, because it may not always be your wife. You know what I mean? It may not always be your father or your mother. It just may be somebody you saw on YouTube, or a random person, a friend, somebody you grew up with. But it's like counseling. You got to get it out. You have to express yourself. You have to vent sometimes, or you're going to blow a fuse eventually.
Absolutely. But Abdul, how important is having a mentor? Do you think it is important to having a mentor or a big homie or somebody like that for young men to have?
It's absolutely critical for men to be able to bond with other men. That's absolutely critical. In the Nation of Islam, we have the FOI class, but there has to be a place where men can bond with other men. And even as a younger brother, having a bond and a relationship with the older brother to help guide you. So as many of us, we see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as our father, right? And the reason is that he gives us wisdom that helps us to guide our lives. And when we apply that wisdom, then we're successful. But every brother, young or old, needs a mentor to help guide him through the trials and tribulations that come with life. So I would tell every brother that you have to have somebody that you can bond with, not just older brother, but just brothers in general. Men need to bond with men in order to develop into a man. That's just a fact. So part of the reason that we don't develop into the men we're supposed to be is because we don't have a strong male example in front of us, which was intentional. And it was started in slavery, but it's going on right to this day. And this is why every time a strong Black male leader stands up, the enemy always works to destroy that strong Black man. And he always works to destroy that strong Black man in the eyes of the public, because they know that that strong Black man will inspire strength and courage in other young Black men. So it's critical that brothers have a mentor.
Excellent. Osmesia says, don't be afraid to seek out a mentor and make the connection yourself. Anyone you admire can be a supporter and someone that help you help hold you accountable to your goals. Facts. And Mark Diesel says, today's youth are being effeminized. Thank you, Mark, for that point.
Can I add something else real quick, brother?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to quote this great Black philosopher by the name of Sean Corey Carter, aka Jay-Z. But when he came into the music business, when him and Diddy came in, he said that he learned from Russell Simmons. He said it took Russell Simmons 20 years to make $500 million. He said that when him and Diddy came in, they learned from Russell, so it took them 10 years to make $500 million. Then he said that the person that comes behind me, it'll only take them 5 if they learn from me. So I'm only bringing that up to show the benefit of having a mentor, because the person can help you to do what you want to do in a shorter amount of time, because they can show you all the pitfalls and things that you have to do in order to make happen what you want to make happen.
Right. Absolutely. To follow up with that, I would say that when Dame Dash and when they sold Rockefeller and people sold Carl Kanai and all of these clothing companies, Kanye West had looked at that and said that he wouldn't want to sell out the same way. So he kept his clothing brand. And right now he's one of the only people who has a clothing company, because he saw how people could, offer you money and then take the ownership away from you with your clothing company. So anybody who's out there stay independent and owning, if you study the mistakes of other people, you can, can be successful as well. You don't have to do that. Robert Abdul said, make it plain. Okay, next we have education, how important is education to help young men stay out of the prison system? We'll start with you, Abdul.
Education is absolutely important, but it has to be the right education.
Yes,
so all the young brothers that's listening, I'm just going to be really real with y'all. And I've been teaching young people my whole adult life. That's my whole life experience has been working with young people. And I worked in the juvenile detention center here in Chicago with the young people, and they love me to death like every other place I go. But the plan of the enemy is there's 3 roads for Black youth. It's either jail, a life of drugs, or going to the military. This is the road that the enemy has for young Black people. When you hear people say, man, look, in order to get this job, you have to have a background check. The reason they put a background check attached to a job is because they know that in our background, we might have criminal activity, and it prevents us from getting that type of employment. When they say, look, you have to take a drug test in order to be in this type of employment, that's there for young Black men because they know you smoking weed, popping pills, shooting heroin, and everything else, and they're trying to keep you out of the job market. The whole system is designed to destroy Black men and women. So I'm just telling you straight up, before you spend the next 20 years of your life trying to fit into a system that's designed to destroy you. So the route that we need to take, and the most important part of that we need to engage in, is education. And I'm not talking about just going to school and just read. I'm not talking about that. And I'm not telling you to drop out of school either. I got to be real clear when I'm talking to Black folks, because they're gonna Abdul said we should not. Don't get it twisted. The unfortunate thing is we send our children to public schools and they're not getting the proper education in public schools. But education is absolutely one of the most important things that you can have after you have spiritual development. You have to have a proper education, because we can't do anything without knowledge. Everybody we look up to, all of you that's listening to this, everybody who is successful in whatever field of endeavor they go into, the more educated they are, the more successful they are. I don't care who they are or what field of endeavor. If they selling dope, the more educated they are, the more successful they are. Now they're gonna get caught, but I'm just letting you know. If you look at, I'm just being real. You look at somebody like Master P, right? Somebody like Master P, right? Somebody like Jay Prince, people who came in the music business and absolutely changed the music business and became moguls. The way they became that is because they got educated in the field that they were into. They weren't ignorant and became moguls. They were educated and became moguls. You look at a man like Floyd Mayweather, who makes $300 million a fight and is the highest paid athlete. He's not the highest paid athlete because he's ignorant in boxing. He's the highest paid athlete because he's educated in boxing and used that education for himself to make more money. Everybody in every field of endeavor, the more educated they are, then the more successful they are in that field. If you look at LeBron James, he's in basketball, but LeBron James, I know people about to get mad at what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. LeBron James is the greatest basketball player in the history of basketball. Now I'm in.
Say it.
Just said that, and y'all going. The reason I said that is because LeBron James opened up a school for Black children. Michael Jordan didn't do that. So the fact of the matter is, he's the greatest because he did the greatest work for our people. But even beyond that, if you look at the moves he's making in basketball, that is showing you that he's educated in that field and he's more successful. So education is critical to being successful in anything you want to do.
Right.
And the more educated you are, the more successful you're going to be.
Wonderful. And thank you, Abdul. Thank you, Farad, Abdul Kadir, Mark Diesel, and Naima. Most times there's conflict in teaching within the educational system as it is. Excellent, bro, Mark. Rashad, what advice do you give to young people, to young men especially, to keep them out of the prison systems?
Okay. Be what God wants you to be. Be creative. Be original. Because a lot of times we follow people and then we follow them right into hell. A lot of people don't know who they are, so they're chasing, what they see on TV. They're trying to be something that they're not, and then a lot of times they end up in jail. And a lot of people don't understand that when you just be yourself, be creative, God will help you, God will bless you. But a lot of our brothers is going to jail because they honestly don't know. They don't know. Like Brother Abdul said, they're uneducated. And when you don't have an education, you're forced to do things on an animalistic level, on the bottom level. So you're gonna sell drugs. You're gonna want to trap. You're gonna want to jug and finesse and steal and scam and do all kind of things to eat because naturally everybody gonna eat. And no black man, especially nowadays, everybody flashy and shining. Nobody wants to be left behind. So everybody trying to play keep up and catch up. You know what I mean? But in reality, they don't have the education to do it a legal way or a legit way. So they end up finessing and doing, and they're gonna end up dead or in jail that way. So my advice to young brothers who are out here finessing and doing all those things is to get an education, but be yourself. Do what God put you here to do. Everybody is special in their own way. Everybody has their own gift and their own talent that God blessed them with to sustain themselves. Not just to be, I'm a rapper, I can rap, I got talent, I can rap. No, I mean, if you really feel that way, make money off of it. Produce something that is going to feed your family, that's going to, make sure you straight forever. And God set it up that way. I honestly, God doesn't want any of us to be broke. God doesn't want any of us not to make it. So he wouldn't put us here to struggle and trap and then end up in jail. No, that's not our story. That's how the system is set up for us right now. But we can get out of that. We can get out of that.
Okay, excellent. Go ahead, Rashad. Abdul, speaking, okay, Rashad, coming back with what you just said about materialism. Abdul, in a world where everybody might, they might see Jay-Z and they see him and he's, money cash holes, he's big pimping, he got clothes, he got money. How can you encourage the young people to not want to be materialistic if they're not on that level yet? How do you tell young men that it's not all about that when they see a lot of rappers they look up to getting that? Like, how do you tell them, like, okay, it's all right not to have that at this time?
Well, brother, I don't know if I'm understanding the question correctly.
It's about materialism. Like, how do you see? How do you tell young men not to be materialistic?
Yeah, when I talk to young people, I talk to them about the importance of money because it's hugely important, but it's not the most important thing. It's just a means to an end. But because we're human beings, we want to enjoy the material things of life. And look, in all honesty, we deserve to enjoy the material things of life because being poor is very hard. Being poor makes you feel like you're despised and rejected. It's not a blessing to be poor. None of those things. So when I talk to young people, I just tell them the truth, brother. You should want to have money. It doesn't mean you should want to sell dope and destroy your community to get money, but you deserve to have the same things that everybody else has. But then not only do you have to want those things, but then you have to show young people the route. Man, brother, it's all kind of ways to make money. It's so many ways to make money that you don't even have to do anything illegal in order to make money. So let me give you case in point, right? And this is stuff that I talk to my students about all the time. So there's a guy called Ninja who streams videos, and all he does is play video games. So the dude makes like $500,000 a month playing video games, streaming them. Mm-hmm. The interview on YouTube, and he's like, yeah. The man asked and said, so you could be making money, but you sitting here with me. And Ninja looks at him like, yeah, I could be making a lot of money, but I'm wasting my time talking to you right now. So that's one way. But there's so many legal ways to make money today that nobody has to do anything illegal in order to make any money, because there's just so many ways to make money. But the thing that we have to do, as Brother Rashad said, is we have to show our young brothers how they can make money without doing something illegal. Like if your passion is music, if your passion is movie, whatever your passion is, there's a way for you to make money with whatever your passion is. And even if your passion ain't that, when I talk to students, because you always hear about the people who want to be rappers and basketball players and all of that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But everybody can't be no rapper. So then you might want to be an entertainment lawyer, because all of these rappers do stupid stuff to get in trouble. And the first person they got to go to, right, it's their lawyer. So every rapper got like 5 lawyers. So you let them be famous, and you just sit back and make all the money. You might not be able to play sports, but I have a student of mine who went to school and majored in sports medicine. You know what I'm saying? So you might not necessarily, because to get in the NBA or the NFL, that's a small group of black people, brother. You know what I'm saying? We might be talking about 150. All, you know, if you put them all in a room, it might be 150 or 200 of them out of 50 million people. So there's other avenues and things you can do in order to make money. I think you and I talked about this, Josh. I think we did. Jay-Z and what's the comedian's name? Dave Chappelle, right? I think you were telling me that they live in a neighborhood with white people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The white people who their neighbors are not celebrities, like dentists and lawyers. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
Yes,
it's white people. If you look at the Super Bowl that just passed, the whole crowd was full of white folks. But were they all celebrities? Were they all basketball and football players? They just regular white folks who got money because somebody showed them how they could make money and be successful and not just have to be a celebrity or a basketball player, football player. We need to show our young people the same thing. So it's about establishing balance, because you have to have the spiritual as well as the physical, because we're spiritual and physical beings. So we have to be balanced.
absolutely. And thank you all both. And thank everyone for their questions and comments. Asnisha, fast money over diligence and work. Right. Okay. One of the things that are affecting young men that I encounter on a day-to-day basis that a lot of people don't talk about is body image. How, as far as people making fun of them for being too fat, too skinny, just shaped awkwardly. What advice would you give the young men who are being body shamed? As far as people think you're body shamed, you think women who are going through that, but men are going through that as well. That I've actually had conversations with, and it kind of, I never heard that term until I was discussing it. As far as for men, what advice would you give to men who have body issues? We'll start with you, Rashad.
Brother, gonna have to work it out, brother. You gotta shed some of them pounds, soldier. No.
Is that your advice? Is that your advice?
No, I'm funny. But I mean, that's really a personal. You know, what I mean, I honestly, I'm not too familiar with men who feel that way, but I'm sure it's men out there who have that problem. Because I walk with a cane. I have physical, issues with my body, and it makes me insecure sometimes. But you really got to just look at yourself and understand that everybody's unique in their own way. You know what I mean? And if it's something like weight or something that can be fixed or worked on, work on it. You know what I mean? And understand that. Take your time. If you got to lose weight in your own time, but understand that it has to be done. You know what I mean? You need to work out. You know what I mean? I feel like I need to work out all the time. I feel like I'm getting extra skinny. You know what I mean? So I need to, hit the gym.
Okay, what about you, brother Abdul?
I'm trying to think of this quote, brother, but it's escaping me right now. So, but it's something that people say about God grant me the wisdom to change the things that I can change. And I know I'm messing the quote up, but and then I guess to understand the things that I can't change and to know the difference between the two. Right. So when you look at yourself, you have to look at, because see, you don't want to accept mediocrity. So you don't want to do that, right? You don't want to like if I'm overweight and I want to lose weight and then I feel a certain type of way and I say to hell with it, I'm just going to be proud to be fat. Right. See, I don't want to accept mediocrity or something that I could change, right? So I'm not the tallest brother in the world, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but at the end of the day, it ain't nothing I can do about that. So that's something that I have to accept, right? But now that doesn't mean that I can't go to the gym and work out and become a better me. You follow what I'm saying? So you just have to know the difference. If a sister look at me and be like, man, I just want to be with a brother that's 6'2", and I'm not, so I got to accept the fact that I'm never going to be with that sister because I'm not 6'2" and she's shallow as hell, right? So, but that doesn't mean that I can't do something to improve myself. So for every brother who's experiencing that, again, what you want to do to improve yourself, if you want to lose weight, if you want to gain weight, if you want to work out, if you want to build muscle, then you should do that. But the things that you can't change, then you got to know you can't change those. But the things you can change and change them. Notice like every time any of these rappers, Cardi B, Nas, Jay-Z, anytime they start making money, the first thing they do is get their teeth fixed. Right. What's wrong? You see what I'm saying? So that's something that you control, that you can change, but you can't be just feeling bad because you might be short or whatever the case may be. You just have to accept those things and move on. People who are going to accept you have to accept you for who you are. But that doesn't mean that you can't become better. But the core of who you are is who they need to accept.
Right. Absolutely. And I thank you all. Thank you all for watching as well. And I just wanted to follow up and say that there absolutely is somebody for everyone. And man, you know, trust me, ladies like short people, tall people, light, dark. It's somebody for everybody. Trust me. Here we go.
It's somebody for everybody, brother. That's true.
Yes, sir. Next, with young men who are battling depression or pain, dealing with heartbreak, what advice would you give? What advice would you give them? Start with you, Rashad. They might heartbreak.
Take your time. Let it. It's gonna hurt. Let it out. But like you said, in that case, you got to seek counseling. Get all of this. Talk to somebody. Go to counseling, and understand that you know, it's funny on the surface, but people been committing suicide, killing their partners. I just had a situation where I was talking to one of my bros, and he said his childhood friend killed his girl and himself. You know what I mean? Because of a heartbreak. So people go off on the deep end when it comes to these relationships nowadays because they're not equipped with everything they need to handle another person being in there, you know, in an interpersonal relationship like that. So I would say, you know, do what you have to do to heal yourself, but focus on you. You know what I mean? I've been in a situation where I've been giving myself to the other situation and not focusing on myself. And in return, it's only hurting me physically, mentally, financially, because I'm not focusing on myself. You know what I mean? I'm trying to, I don't want to say change another person, but when you focus on yourself and realize that you are the problem and that you are the solution to actually get out of your situation, everything will start to change. But you have to really look within yourself and make a change. You have to change with yourself. You have to start with self and improve.
Absolutely. Okay, well, Abdul, we coming to you. I just wanted to say that I was dealing with somebody, this was probably like 2 weeks ago, one of my close friends, and his father was very toxic, or as they would say, like toxic masculinity, who was telling him, like, hey, bro, just toughen up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't love him. Like, you know, just get over it. Man, but he called me crying. He's a tough guy. You know what I mean? He's tough. He ain't no weak man. And you know what I'm saying? He could fight, but hell, he was in pain. And his dad's advice to him wasn't good advice in my opinion, because his son was reaching out to him for some real advice, and that just be tough. Man, the boy was all messed up. He called me and he's going through it. And I said, once we talked it out, I said, man, this is why we need to address it so that men, especially black men who are, we already tough by nature. We already know we tough and killers. We already know all of that. We tough. Okay, we're masculine. We get that. But damn, people still go through pain, and we need a way to talk it out. And if you're not in therapy, somebody got to talk to so you can understand that there's nothing wrong. You ain't weak for saying my stomach hurt over no woman. You know what I'm saying? Or especially divorce people. Divorce out here, you like, oh, just toughen up. That shit me. How you deal with it?
Man, brother, I just turned on that Jay-Z song called Big Pimpin', brother, and let it ride.
Yes, sir.
You know, takes all the pain away, brother.
Yes, sir.
Brother, I think that I have experienced heartbreak as many other brothers have. And the thing that we have to understand as men is that we do experience pain. Like, see, the thing about women is they're more vocal with their pain. Like my mother, when I'm saying my mother, that's every black mama, so that's your mama. Everybody who's listening, mama, we know our mother's pain in dealing with our fathers because our mothers verbalize their pain. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We know it intimately because they verbalized it. But we never, like, my father is alive. You know what I'm saying? And we never had no conversation about the pain that he experienced in being married to my mother, or was this like we never had them conversations. You see what I'm saying? But there's pain, just like there's pain on the woman's side, there's pain on the man's side. You see what I'm saying? And it might be more pain on the man's side, but most men are not going to have a conversation about their pain. Let me give you another example. Sisters right now, if they could pull up a chair right now, 5 of them, and they could start talking, about something that happened 7 years ago, and they'll be crying and in pain like it just happened yesterday. You see what I'm saying? Now, brothers, we're like Josh, we're not gonna get together at Savior's Day with 4 other brothers in a circle and talk about what some sister did us. It ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen. I'm just saying that as men, we don't verbalize our pain. We bury it, but we're in pain. You know what I'm saying? In tremendous pain. So what happens is, like, I deal with children, right? And I've been working with children, like I said, my whole life. And when children go through traumatic situations, it comes out in ways like they cuss the teacher out, right? Or they blow up, tear the classroom up. And it's not because they don't have nothing against, they might even like the teacher. The thing is, they have not been taught how to express the pain that they're experiencing. So it comes out by them yelling, or it comes out by them having these explosions or cussing people out. You see what I'm saying? Because that's a child that doesn't know how to verbalize the pain. And the younger they are, of course, the less they know how to verbalize, right? So men are the same way. So we go through tremendous pain, but we're not gonna sit down. Like, I haven't sat down with my son and say, man, you know, I got my heart broke and this is what it was like. We never had those conversations, and I'm talking about it right now. You know what I'm saying? Yes, so as men, we have to, you can't open up to everybody. Let me just be real. You just can't go up to any brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be talking to a pimp named Slickback, you know, and telling him that a girl broke her heart. Because the pimp, you know what I'm saying, he ain't even be able to talk to you about that. But going back to our conversation about what we said about having a mentor, these are the kind of conversations that you want to have with a mentor, because it's real, and the pain that men experience is just as real as the pain that women experience. The difference is we bury our pain and it comes out in other ways, like what Brother Rashad said, where we become violent. That's just a brother who did not know how to articulate his pain, so he buried it, and then it got to the point where he couldn't hold it in no more.
Right.
Which is sad for everybody that's involved, you know. So as brothers, I'm gonna say this: y'all come to Savior's Day, don't be pulling me over to the side talking about, man, you know. I'm saying you gotta find a mentor.
So I'm saying, how you gonna give people advice and take it away that quick? Like, see what I'm saying?
No, I'm joking, but I'm just saying that as men, that you have to find a person. You have to have a safe person that you can talk to. Everybody is not a safe person. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And that's just a fact. So you can't open up to everybody, just like every woman can't keep a secret. So you can't tell your business to every woman. You know what I'm saying? So you be selective about the person that you identify as a safe person, that you all can have those kind of conversations, that you can express that kind of pain to. That's all I'm saying.
Excellent. And I thank everybody for their comments. I was gonna follow with this, but Abdul. We do as men, because men do give their tell secrets, because I've heard some things that I didn't even ask for, but most of the time we do it in a setting like where men are smoking, drinking, partying, when you're trying to enjoy yourself, then all of a sudden your best friend, he's a sad drunk, and he's telling you about it. You're like, man, you know what I'm saying? But when it's just it's influence for people to say that. But I will say that one of my mentors is a former gangster disciple, man, one of the toughest men I ever known. And he's like, you know, killer, he's all tough and all of that. But when I was going through something very traumatic, I went to him and I said, man, look, I need a brother to talk to on some real. And he was like, man, I'm right here for you. And because of that conversation that we had, we've been close ever since then, because I knew that no matter what, he wouldn't judge me for showing a sign of weakness behind closed doors and be like, why don't you just man up? You're being a little, you know what I'm saying? After we came out of that, you know what I'm saying? So we need more mentors or more men just to be like, hey, it's okay behind closed, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? Tell me what's going on, as opposed to just saying toughen up and all, because apparently that's not working with the state of the young men, but especially the state of the young black
men. Not at all, brother. Not at all.
Yeah. Okay. So, also, how can we Okay, hold on, here we go. What would be your advice, Brother Abdul, because you've been married for quite some time. Brother Abdul, how long have you been married?
22 years.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Mimi says, I agree. Identify a safe person who values confidentiality is key. Many men are more comfortable, as Misha says, many men are more comfortable expressing their pain through anger. Mardizo's going about toxic masculinity. Mimi said, but Abdul is hilarious. Thank you, Mimi, for that. Asmija, beautiful. Hakeem Shakir, okay, wait, I'm sorry. But Abdul, you've been married for 22 years. What advice would you give to future husbands or young men who are married as we speak?
Man, we got to do a whole show on that, brother.
Yes, sir.
What I would say, if to a brother who is looking to get married, who's not in a courtship, not emotionally involved with a woman right now.
Yes, sir.
That first I would say take your time, because there's no rush into getting married, because it's something that you don't want to be in and out of. You know, marriage is not an easy road. This is why it's considered half of your faith as a Muslim, even if you're not a Muslim or in the nation. Marriage is just not easy. It's not like people say, well, if it's not easy, then, you know, why should I get involved in it? Because there's nothing that's going to develop you. Like, I wouldn't be the man that I am if I never got married. Like, you're not gonna, like, if you're a single brother and you got a roommate, right? Man, you're not going to develop into the man that God wants you to be just with a roommate, because a roommate is not going to test you in a way to bring out of you what God has deposited in you. I never knew the type of man that I was, or that I was even a real quote unquote man, until I was put in a position where I was married and had to take care of a family. But that brought out what was in that I didn't even know was there. So what I would tell any brother who's thinking about marriage is, the first thing you got to, before you even look at the sister, before you even talk to her, get her phone number, before you even do any of that kind of stuff, is you need to develop yourself. The greatest knowledge is the knowledge of self. Everybody talks about what they're looking for in a mate. But the question is, what are you? What are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the endeavor? Have you developed yourself to the point where you're qualified for this great person that you say that you're looking for? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so if you still got doo-doo stains in your underwear, you're behind properly. What are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? You don't have a savings account. You don't have your own house. You don't have your own car. You don't have good employment. You don't have health care or benefits. I mean, this is just all real stuff. And let me say this, brothers, and I'm gonna say this, and if I offend a sister, then it is what it is. These sisters will tell you, they will lie to you. And they will say, look, baby, I just want to be with you. I don't care if we sleep on the floor. I don't care if we eating out of cans. I don't care anything. I just want to be with you because I love you. It's a lie. And it's only going to last 30 minutes. As soon as I get married, the next day, she going to be complaining about, where the bedroom say that? Where did it? We get a new job. I'm taking this out. I don't want to live. Look, I'm telling you right now, don't fall. Develop yourself as a man first. Yes, and then once you develop yourself as a man, then you want to bring your woman into something that you have made as a man. So as we're taught in the Nation of Islam, Allah created himself first. And after he created himself, then he created woman, but he brought her in a universe that he had already created. So as a man, that's how you want to follow that pattern, because that allows you to remain the man. So that's what I would say to every brother who's looking to get married. I'm giving y'all the quick version. There is a longer version, but we don't have time. To every brother who's already married, I mean, you already know the road. Then you just have to do what is necessary in order to maintain yourself and maintain your family on a spiritual, physical, economic, moral, all of those levels. As a man, you are the protector, you are the provider, you are the maintainer, you are the nurturer, you all of those things to your wife and your family. So I would say, and I'll say this, and I should have started with this, but the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has done so many lectures on marriage, and I would recommend that all of us who are listening go to him and get what he's taught on marriage, because what he teach, see, when we talk to one another, what we get is just what we think, what that individual thinks, right? When you listen to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, what you get is thus saith the Lord. And that's what we need. That's what's going to make us successful, is thus saith the Lord, not what brother so-and-so thinks or what sister so-and-so thinks. We need to know, what does God, Allah, think, and what wisdom did he give the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to guide us in this area of our lives on marriage? Because marriage is not for the faint of heart. And I'm just going to be real, brothers or sisters, is not for the faint of heart. But a lot of times the sisters are more prepared for the endeavor than the brothers are. So this is why I'm telling all the single brothers, y'all need to get ready. Y'all need to man up before you even start talking about a sister. You need to get yourself ready for the endeavor. And I'm going to end with this. So we got ready to run a marathon. I mean, I can't run no marathon if I didn't train. If I didn't train for the marathon, how am I going to run it? I'm going to be on the side of the road with cramps after a half a mile. So it's a race that lasts one day. You talking about being married to somebody and being with that person for the rest of your life. Who's going to teach you and prepare you to run that type of race? So if you go into something like that with no preparation, how can you be successful? Let's just be real, you know? So we got to be prepared.
Excellent. Mimi says 22 years, that's beautiful. Hakeem Shakir says there should be a show for some type of group where believers have been married can share that longevity. Congratulations, Abdul. Asmisha's laughing, Hakeem's laughing, Mimi's laughing. Mimi said, who's saying that? Asmisha says, thank you for that, Brother Mark, question mark. Naeem was laughing. Okay, excellent. Okay, Rashad, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Thank everyone for watching. Rashad, you have a beautiful daughter named Asada, who showed me how to love, from an uncle to a niece. I didn't, Asada just brought so much joy to our life. What advice would you give to young fathers out here?
Have a relationship with God, and I'm not trying to be cliche, like, oh, God. But you really, being a father is so hard, and it's taught me so much, bro. And I really want my daughter to look at me like how I grew up looking at the minister or the FOI that I admired. You know what I mean? It takes a lot to be a man nowadays, but more so a godly man in this world. You know what I mean? I just want my daughter to look up to me and be proud of me. You know what I mean? So it takes me being a real man, like Brother Abdul was saying, providing, getting my credit fixed, getting a home, a big home, you know what I mean, that we can live in forever. We don't have to move around. You know what I mean? A car, everything that a man should have. Brothers, make sure you get that, so you won't have problems with the mother of your children not letting you see your children. Y'all going back and forth because honestly, you're not providing. And I heard Sister Ava say, women aren't meant to struggle financially. And a lot of us brothers don't get that in our head. So we take it out on the women and we're upset with our women, but it's going to, and the minister says it's in her nature to try the man. So if you a lazy man, if you a man that don't got drive or don't want to do nothing, you're going to catch hell from your wife or your woman or the mother of your children because you're not being a man. And so my advice to future fathers or fathers that's out here is step up, be a man, look at your faults and look at everything that you've done wrong and change. Step up to the plate and say, this is what I want for my family, for my daughter, whether you're going to be with the mother of your children or not. You got to be a man. You got to get that cake. You got to get that bag for your daughter. But it's more important than money is you got to be a man of God. You got to be something that your daughter can look up to and say, oh, yeah, my daddy, I'm proud. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's really it, though. Just be a man. Be a real man. And you're not a man until you're a man of God.
Excellent. Okay, Rashad, you got a lot of women in the audience. The thing choosing. Say, what's Rashad's number? What's Rashad's inbox? What's Rashad's DM? Brother Abdul, what advice would you give to the young fathers out there?
I think our brother summed it up. He summed it up really well. Whether you with the sister or not, you still have a responsibility as a man, and that was the beauty of the Million Man March in '95. Because what happened, it reconnected millions of brothers back with their children. which, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan never gets credit for. But the fact of the matter is that is the reality of what happened at the Million Man March. So we have to be involved in our children's lives. And I'm going to say this, brothers, because I've been teaching children for 20 years. If you're not involved in your children's lives, trust me, they do hate you. They don't like you. They hate you. Because I talk to your children all the time. If you're not there and they catching hell and they do all of these things, they hate you. The girls don't like you. And the way that it impacts them, if you have a daughter and she doesn't have a man to look to as an example, a good example, then any man is going to be good enough for her. So she's choosing any dude that smiles at her as the one that she's going to love, the one that she's going to be with, because she doesn't have a standard to compare any man to. So you're really doing your daughters a disservice by not being in their life. And you're also doing your sons a disservice, because having a male and female in the life of a child brings balance, because each parent brings a certain nature, and then the child is able to learn from both parents, which creates a balance between the two. So, brothers, whether like my brother said, whether you're with the mother or not, you definitely have to be involved in your children's life. And the fact of the matter is, because I don't want to be stereotypical, the fact of the matter is most Black men are involved in their children's life, and it's a myth that Black men are not involved. So it's not even the reality, because most brothers are involved. And the reason I believe is because we had a generation of brothers who did not have their parents in their life, and they made a commitment that whether they were with the woman or not, that they were going to be in their children's life. And that's the generation that we're looking at right now. So things have changed in the Black community for the better in that regard. So all we have to do, brothers, is really be more in the mind to do something for self, so that we can provide for the children that we have produced, and for our wives that we have in our lives. Because like my brother said, and I'm gonna say it the way that I heard Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say it, in one of the lectures that he did on marriage, romance without finance is a nuisance. And that's just what it is,
Excellent. And on that note, Brother Abdul, it's hard for me to follow up anything Brother Abdul says when he's getting on deep, or Rashad. Y'all make an excellent point. Speak, say that. Okay, Rashad, beautiful. Responsibility is law. It's a huge myth. That's right, Brother Abdul. I see you all the time. I see them all the time. Excellent. Fatherhood, absolutely matters. What advice, okay, Rashad, we'll start with you on this one. What advice would you give to the younger you? Even though you are young, but younger you, what advice would you give to the younger you based off of what you've experienced now or seen in life?
You better hear and obey. Listen, be disciplined. If I could tell my younger self anything, it would be to be more disciplined and have more discipline and taking my time in the decisions that I make, in every decision that I make, no matter what the decision would be. It could be as simple as getting in the car, with the right people, with the wrong people, but just be more disciplined, have more discipline.
Excellent. Abdul, what advice would you give your younger self?
Man, bro, that's a good question. So one thing that I would really tell my younger self is be open to build more relationships with people, especially with brothers, so that, because that bond between men is real important. So that's the things that I would say.
Okay, excellent. I want Hakeem Shakir says, Brother Rashad, original salute. Asmisha says, great question. Thank you, Asmisha. Sister Robin says, wow, excellent. Robin tipped it. Okay, I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank you all for your great advice. I'm going to make sure we put this on YouTube, and I'm leaving on Facebook so people can get more inspired from both of you all. I don't want to take any more time out of everyone's schedule. I thank all y'all for your questions. Abdul, you did an excellent job. Rashad, you did an excellent job. Yes, sir. And Mark Diesel says no sex before marriage. That's right, Brother Mark. Okay. Rashad, will you say goodbye to everyone before you dip?
All right, everybody. I know where I'm at. I had to show y'all studio time. I'm sitting here all You know, I'm always working while I'm at the office. Still got clients out there waiting on me. Appreciate you, bro, big bro. Brother Abdul.
No problem, sir.
Always an honor
bless you,
to
brother.
be on the same panel as you with the knowledge you spitting, brother. I don't even feel like I should be, you know, on this podcast sometimes.
I'm just glad to be on the panel with you all, brother. For real.
Thank you, brother. Okay, Abdul, love you, Shot. But Abdul, would you say everybody?
I just want to give everybody greetings of Assalamu alaikum. Looking forward to seeing you all at Savior's Day 2019 with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So thank you, brother, for having me on the show. Assalamu alaikum. Everybody, Sister Mimi, Brother Mark, everybody that you name that's on the line right now. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Brother Abdul. I thank everyone. Anything that, if you have any subject matters or topics, or you would like to be a panelist or a guest, or you have someone that you recommend, please inbox me and tell me, because I just want to use the platform to inspire people to stay positive. 2019 is all about positivity and love. All right, thank y'all. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.